I don't know when our souls signed the contract to be in a human body that requires ongoing effort to maintain our health, but that's the unfortunate reality that we're living in. So fast forward, I'm lifting heavy weights, playing football. I end up breaking my back and was told to get surgery and quit football. A vegan vegetarian thing was a big thing like 5-10 years ago.
Eat nothing to do with meat, nothing to do with animals. Now we're eating all the animals.
Only animals, yeah.
We have to get rid of these cows destroying our ozone layer.
A lot of people also either are afraid of getting adjusted or they're afraid of getting pitched a $3,000 care plan for 2 years and all this commitment. Not all chiropractors are like that. Dentists, twice a year we see our primary care, X amount. We do these checkups for the rest of our body, but we're not doing checkups for our muscles and our joints. I saw 10,000 people my first year, and like how many lives it changes just getting adjusted.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Now We're Talking. Today, we're talking with Victor Elmer. I'll let you describe exactly what it is you do, because I know we were talking and you're like, how to describe it.
I didn't really give you like a title to it.
But today we are talking with Victor Elmer. Tell them about yourself, any background you want to bring into it, but also, what it is you do.
Yeah, I'll kind of start with like how it all began, basically, which was I started lifting weights with my dad in 8th grade. And so I got into lifting weights as most middle school boys do, and trying to get bigger and all these things. And I was also playing football at the time. So fast forward, lifting heavy weights, playing football. I ended up breaking my back and was told to get surgery and quit football.
Dang.
And like a really good patient, I did neither of those things. So I didn't listen to the doctors at all. And I was working at a training gym at the time, a local one, which we're training like middle school, high school, and even like people in college football and things like that. And the owner of the gym knew of a massage therapist like 30 minutes away. So I went to him. Probably like an hour later, I'm like 70% better after one visit of just paying this dude. Yeah. So paying this dude a visit. Instead of surgery, he worked on my glutes, my low back muscles. They were just like really spasmed up, and most of my pain was coming from that. So I go to massage school because it was such a cool feeling, not only to feel so much better from it, but also like the literal sensation of him stepping on my back, and it felt like this ball of tension, like he was able to manipulate it and it like left my body kind of. It was a very weird thing. And so I was like, yeah, I want to do that. That was cool. And after massage school, I started going to a bunch of seminars. And there's a local chiropractor who teaches for a technique that I still use called DNS, Dynamic Neuromuscular Stabilization. And that originated in Prague. And we can get into it more later. But basically, he was talking about how breathing can affect how we stabilize our body and how we move and our posture. And I was like, that makes sense. I'm going to try to be this guy. He's a chiropractor. So that's how I decided to be a chiropractor at the time. It wasn't because adjustments helped me or anything. I did start to work with him on my low back pain, and it helped a lot as well. He was showing me the exercises and stuff, and it was cool to learn from the seminars, but also experience it. And now I'm learning experience is probably the greatest teacher. So being able to feel the change in my own body. But that's how I became a chiropractor. I went to school just outside of St. Louis, about 30 minutes west, in a town called Chesterfield. And that's where Logan University is. And I think it's been 4 years since graduation, which is crazy. I was in Arizona for 2 of them. I was in Ohio, where I grew up, for about 6 months or so. And then I moved here about a year ago now, to the date, actually, in Northwest Arkansas. I had some friends move into the area, met my girlfriend, all these kinds of things. And Now I do basically a blend where I'm at with chiropractic, because I blend untraditional physical therapy, sort of the massage stuff as well, and chiropractic. So a lot of people that I would adjust at the joint, for instance, which is amazing. It changes lives, and it's been incredible to see. But a lot of people come in and their spine feels like a brick wall,
Right?
like literally. So I don't want to force the adjustment. So we'll do a little bit of breathing or soft tissue work or whatever exercises, and then they come back in the next week and they're able to adjust by me just moving their spine now, not even having to like force the adjustment. So I started using that approach on a lot of people. Not everyone needs it, but it's almost like there's all this prep work before the adjustment, and then also exercise to solidify the changes after. So
and keep it. Yeah, it's like a 3-stage thing. You were showing me a little bit of it earlier. I was the dummy for a little bit, and you were doing some of it to me, and just the changes it made in such a short amount of time was kind of crazy. Because like, I first got adjusted by you at the joint, and that's where, like, you know, it's not as bad as it shows in like the comical sense of like movies where it's showing the old
I always say
just jumping.
Hollywood did not help chiropractic. People always picture like Sylvester Stallone or some other movie, like action movie, and I'm like, yeah, Hollywood did not help chiropractic for sure.
but and those did help, but this felt different. Like, it felt you were targeting more than just adjustment. It was more like your entire body was like, it felt more in tune with how it should be, versus like, okay, we're just going to force it to the position. It's more like, oh, now your body more naturally wants to go to that position. Like you had me do the breathing technique, and then all of a sudden my back just kind of slid to where it needed to be whenever you went to actually do the adjustment. It just kind of did it on its own. It's like, what is going on? So that's, like you said, experience is going to be one of the biggest things, because that I can describe it to you guys all day, but it felt just completely different than just having an adjustment, at least to me. And like you said, maybe not everyone needs it. And at first you maybe thought I didn't need it. And then, like you were saying before, like the more you were like working with me, it's like all of a sudden, oh no, there is tension here. There is some mobility issues here. So, but yeah, that's really cool. Not quite so cool, the getting your back broken. I'm sorry to hear that. That's a great way to start you down this path. Prior to all of the events that led you up to like learning more about this, what would you say would have been like your goal, dream job back then? Like whenever, and I know that's all the way back in like middle school, junior high, whatever. But did you have a different dream job?
I wanted to, I wanted to be in the NFL, of course, young football player.
Of course.
And then I started working at that gym. No, I started training at that gym. And then I actually got an internship, sophomore year of high school, I think. And then I kind of combined those two goals. Like, oh, well, now maybe I want to train professional athletes. So I would just like, almost like a psychopath. Like literally that's all I researched, like in my free time as a middle school kid, was just like training videos and all these top people like Pete Bomarito in Florida and all these people preparing guys for the NFL Combine. Like I would ask my parents to buy me like training sleds and would do stuff in the backyard in my free time. Like kind of like a not terrible, but very focused childhood, I would say. My parents didn't force it on me at all. They supported whatever my passion was, and it was that. So started with professional football, and then kind of shifted into training. And then the trainer who I was working for kind of set me on the massage path, and then like dovetailed into chiropractic. And I've always been into like alternative health. So that was also a big draw for me at the time that I actually kind of forget about till we were just talking about it now. I mean, just getting outside, exercise, eat well, like the basic stuff that most people unfortunately don't do, whether it's because of work or whatever, that if we start to do, a lot of issues that people deal with start to go away typically. Not always, for sure. Like there's obviously a place for medications and surgeries.
And people
and
still, if people get broken backs, like that's still not just going to go away. There's going to be situations where circumstances occur and they do require.
And I would refer people out for like an injection or pain medications. Like sometimes like things just need to calm down. So like there's a place. It's just, I guess, like not always the best place to start for most people. And we could just use those tools more strategically.
Especially in a world that is so often getting addicted to pain medications and stuff like that. If there's an alternate method that leads to the same results. Like I was sort of surprised whenever I broke my ankle a while back. I was 20-something, 22, something like that. But I broke my ankle and originally I was just told surgery. You're probably going to get surgery. Mm-hmm. Well, through some circumstances, I ended up sitting around for 2 months, and it happened right around Christmas. It was an employer thing, and I was supposed to go to whoever they wanted me to go to. And for one reason or another, it ended up taking like 2 months before I was able to like get back in. And by that time, they're like, well, it might have healed inappropriately, but it's already healed now. And so like we would have to re-break it. No. And so they were like, so instead of that, we're just going to have you strengthen the muscle around
Go figure.
But I was actually surprised at just how much better, like I was like, is this going to be a pain for the rest of my life kind of thing?
For sure.
But then whenever I just strengthened the muscle around it, it relieved a lot of that pain and stress. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of us are going to jump to the mentality of, oh, it needs to be surgery. Oh, it needs to be pain pills, especially in this modern day and age we live in. But sometimes it's just, oh, you're going to have to put some work in if you don't want to hurt for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And I don't know when our souls signed the contract to be in a human body that requires ongoing effort to maintain our health. But that's the unfortunate reality that we're living in.
100%.
Like you have to move at least to, like, even if it's just walking, like, you don't have to go to the gym and like just crush like the weights or whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be intense. Getting outside for 20-30 minutes, even if it's on a cloudy day, eat a piece of broccoli once a week. Like, just do something to at least move the needle in the right direction.
Yeah, and you don't have to do a full-blown change every single day. But
I'll say, like, I've been surprised, like, a couple of patients, particularly lately, maybe the last like 2-3 months, a couple have gone on carnivore diet. I'm not 100% advocating for everyone to do that, but they lost like 20-30 pounds. I could
afford it, I would.
It's also, it can be, especially with everything going on, prices can be jacked up. But carnivore diet, and one gal that I'm thinking of just keeps losing weight, like literally week to week.
Just
I'm like,
melting.
And she's just not eating as much processed food. So it's like, you don't even have to do something super crazy and like only eat kale or whatever and green smoothies. It's like, if we just cut out a little bit of the
more
crap.
whole foods. I was seeing something about how, especially like calorie wise, a lot of the calories don't get left in our system if we're eating whole foods because our body has to work to process it. And if it's already processed, that it's easier for our bodies to process it. Is what I saw. And so
I have not heard this, but that would make sense.
That takes your body more time to break down. And like that's why people eat more protein to get better weight loss results. Is protein is harder for your body to break down, therefore it requires more calories just to eat it. So it sounds like, at least from what I've heard of it, it sounds like it's in the same vein as that. So eating more whole foods, sounds like it's
I think it's the same thing. Like, people were like the vegan vegetarian thing was a big thing like 5-10 years ago. Now carnivores,
now all the way on the other end.
And it's like everyone's
eat nothing to do with meat, nothing to do with animals. Now we're eating all the animals.
Only animals,
We have to get rid of these cows destroying our ozone layer.
The common denominator to what you said is like, it's minimizing processed foods, whether it's
Right.
all vegetables and fruits or it's all animal based, like,
Or
it's just,
both, or a good mixture of both.
yeah. And
just
that's
making
most,
sure
like, I
that
do
you're
well on a mix of both. I've tried both, and like my body does not respond well, and I don't like it. But yeah, being in the middle ground, like, oh, who would have thought that we had to swing the pendulum back and forth 17 times to realize we should probably just land
eat
in the
an
middle.
apple rather than getting the can of apples.
Yeah,
Eat a peach or a tomato rather than getting cans of it. I'm not saying you can't get cans of it, because eat whatever you want, but eating a little bit more whole foods could go a long way.
For sure. And the thing too, which has been cool for me, is like not only the weight loss, but when I go to adjust them, like their muscle tension, like the lady I was just mentioning who just ate a little bit less processed food, like I lay her down face down on the table. I'm like, wow, your back is way less tense, like way less tense. And it's just from decreasing the systemic
toll
inflammation in her body. Like, to me, it's interesting to feel the relationship between inflammation and the muscle tension.
Right.
I'm always kind of gauging muscle tension, of course, but for someone to change their diet and be getting better in that way, for me as a chiropractor, it's like, wow, there's a ton of things left on the table if someone's coming to me with knee pain, ankle pain, low back pain, neck pain, whatever, and they're keep inflaming their system by smoking cigarettes or eating whatever foods or whatever. Psychological stress will literally cause inflammation, not sleeping well. It's like we can do all the right things on the table, and we'll take off all of the mechanical reasons why you might be in pain as far as joint restrictions or muscle knots or whatever, but we also want to be building around a healthy lifestyle, which is ultimately
is going to
what chiropractic is about. It's maintenance care, it's wellness, it's overall wellness. The adjustment is part of that, and keeping your spine healthy. And for a while, because of when I went through school, it's kind of like this evidence-based crowd that started to convince people that like the adjustments don't really do anything, there's not a ton of merit and all these kinds of things. But even if you believe that, like, if you get adjusted, like, you feel great after every single time. Like, so there's something to it, whether it's the original mechanism that they thought when the very first adjustment took place, who knows?
Could just be like a mental thing. Like,
yeah,
if you leave there feeling better, what was the term I'm looking for? It
like
increases.
Yeah,
it's a placebo effect, but placebo effects work.
Yeah,
like we proved this a long time ago. Even if it is a placebo.
Yeah.
If it's a placebo that's increasing your positivity and your body is responding to that positivity, then that's still a plus.
Who cares? Yeah, 100%. And that's like the worst case scenario if you were to go down their argument. But we also know like it does a ton of other things as far as stimulating the joint that overrides a lot of pain signals that people feel. So you take the edge off of someone in like 9 out of 10 pain, 10 being like, I'm going to the ER because I'm in so much pain, and you get them to like a 7 even.
Right.
They can at least go walk around and start doing stuff. Like, that psychologically is just like such a relief for people that then you start adjusting them like whatever, twice a week for 2 weeks or something. And now they're able, like they're at like a 2 or a 3, and it's like, we didn't have to go down the pain med route. And they're able to start to do the things that were taken away from them in their life from the pain. And ultimately that's what we're trying to do. And back on the pain medication thing, like there's been a couple of studies, and I don't know the exact numbers, but basically if you see a chiropractor regularly and get adjusted, like your chances of, but also the people who do see chiros regularly do not basically get addicted to pain medications because they don't need the pain medication. Right. Which unfortunately, like, it has other effects that feel really good to people. And so those things are, opioids are super addicting and things, but it makes a big dent in that epidemic of opioids to get adjusted and actually see either a chiropractor or PT or someone else first. And I actually was making a video about this about a month ago. Like, a lot of people jump to primary care physician. Their training is x-ray, drugs, injections, surgery.
Right.
Not their fault. That was their education.
That's what they were.
Yeah. And unfortunately, a lot of people also either are afraid of getting adjusted or they're afraid of getting pitched a $3,000 care plan for 2 years and all this commitment. Not all chiropractors are like that. But getting assessed by one and at least knowing what's wrong, and you can start to figure out for yourself whether that chiro or someone else is a better fit. But if you just enter the healthcare system in that direction, your chances of drugs, injections, surgery goes way down. Unnecessary MRIs and unnecessary imaging goes way down. And now you're not costing the healthcare system nearly as much. So like it benefits everyone to go see a chiro or PT first.
Just focus on, I guess the overall message is try and focus on your overall bodily health.
Yeah,
without immediately resorting to drugs.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because and there's nothing saying, again, the drugs have their
people
place.
Need pain meds. Like I've referred, we at the Joint, all of us have referred people for injections and pain medications, but we know it's temporary to take the edge off so we can do what we need to, and then we can start to get the joints moving better. And then when the pain meds do wear off, now the patient's actually feeling better long term, not just pain meds for forever,
right?
Or temporarily, then the pain comes back. It's use it as a strategic band-aid so that we can get long-term results. So, but yeah, I mean, entering the healthcare system in that direction is super huge. And I think more medical doctors are trusting chiropractors and PTs in general.
I think they're at least more open to it. I think because of what we're seeing, so much of the opioid crisis and so much pushing of like medicine to cure all. At the same time, you are getting things like Ozempic and stuff like that.
Yeah,
though. Sure. So it's like, and can these things be used well? And if they're used correctly, can they help? It seems to be the case, yes. But also, you can't tell me that if you're not outside walking at least once a day, that isn't going to improve your overall health either.
Yeah,
this is coming from me, who's gotten heavy over the past few years. But I know because I was heavy before I lost the weight by doing the healthy things. But sometimes I get it, guys. Sometimes it's like it's very difficult to want to or have the time to do those kinds of things.
I totally have way more empathy for people now that I'm 29, almost 30. Like having worked for a couple of years, I'm like, I don't want to go
things
home.
Happen.
I don't want to go home. Like sometimes I have the energy and
I just want to play Elden Ring, man.
Actually, I just finished my second run through like about 2 months ago. I'm on Black Ops 6 now.
Moved on to Black Ops.
But yeah, even like I just started walking twice a day as much as I can, and it's pretty incredible like how much better I feel just after like literally 3 days of doing that. Like my stomach and just getting out and sweating a little bit, my sleep, like my energy levels, all that kind of stuff. Like I used to work out super heavy, and of course that's how I broke my back. I stayed on that train for a while, and then I just like totally got off of it in chiropractic school because of how busy we were and all this stuff. I was like, I don't have the capacity, like the stress reserves to even go work out. Right But at this point in my life, just literally going out and walking, keeping your diet pretty decent, like goes a long, long way. But I think too, like, I don't think people realize like how much, well, I take that back. I think people intuitively realize, but aren't validated by the medical field of how much the mind affects the body. And so like all these work stressors and relationship stressors and financial stressors and all these things will affect inflammation and how you feel in your body. And also pain, which is coming out the last like 5 or 10 years of research has been booming with the biopsychosocial model, which is like kind of unfortunately, a lot of people like use it as ammo against like hands-on care instead of like in addition to. Gotcha. And so like, oh, I don't need to adjust someone if they have low back pain. It's because they're stressed about X, Y, and Z. And it's like, that might be true, but the adjustment's also going to help decrease their pain. But that's a tangent, but
I get it. Yeah. Like, it does make sense too. Cause like you can think of, there's been times like, I remember going on vacation to the Bahamas and like prior to the vacation, you feel like crap. You go on
Yeah.
the vacation,
Magically
you come
you
back,
feel
you feel so much more relieved, so much.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, like I was weight. Am I like,
Yeah.
no, you were stressed.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It is
Whenever
crazy
you
what-
can ignore that stress for a bit, what it does for you. So yeah, that's, it does definitely seem all incorporated. And I think the fact that you're targeting a lot of things and not just the chiropractic side, not just, breathing, because that can help reduce stress levels immensely too. Just all these things together does definitely put you maybe in more of a niche, but also I think hopefully more people will start leaning more towards overall bodily health rather than just, oh, take your daily pill. Oh, here's your processed food. Oh, go to the gym. It's, oh, go to the gym. Take a moment for yourself to relax, breathe, stretch out your spine.
Yeah.
Do these other things that are also important for your overall health. Go on more walks, and the fact that you're advocating for that type of stuff. It's kind of funny because you're actually advocating for the thing that gets people to see you less.
Yeah. It's a terrible business model to actually get people better. Yeah. That's really funny.
But the fact, but it shows that you genuinely care and that this is what you want people to do. You want people to leave here better, and you can see the improvements over time. And I guess the overall goal would be to get them to a point where they didn't need your assistance anymore.
100%.
But then they can tell other people and like, hey, your back's hurting. This is what I did.
And the other cool thing too, well, one, like chiropractic in general, like it's a lifestyle, like you said, like it becomes not chiropractic, but like just being healthy in general. Like that's typically the people that I end up seeing is because if they're gonna do the breathing and all these other things, they're already somewhat health conscious anyway. So yeah, it is more of like a lifestyle, which again is a general concept of chiropractic, is like just overall health and wellness. And it's like, go figure, like why is it that it doesn't need to be complicated. I always say like the body is super complicated, but health is not that complicated, at least for the majority of cases. But also like nothing replaces the adjustment. Like even if you don't need it per se every single week for the rest of your life, like because of chronic back pain or whatever, like getting adjusted every 2 weeks or a month because it feels good, the same way a massage feels good or whatever. Like at some point it is kind of a luxury. It's not a necessity.
But that luxury still has a positive impact on
you. And the other thing too,
like
that
the vacation, like
you 100%.
Get to de-stress, you get to feel those positive effects coming out the other side of it, and that can have a positive impact on your life overall.
And one of my mentors who I interned with up in St. Louis, a little north of St. Louis, kind of would say, like, as from a musculoskeletal standpoint, like, yeah, we see dentists twice a year, we see our primary care X amount, we do these checkups for the rest of our body, but we're not doing checkups for our muscles and our joints. So it's like coming in some semi regularly just to like do a quick little tune up and see how things are moving is probably a good idea, because it might not be hurting now, but your lack of hip range of motion or your super severe lack of neck range of motion might turn into pain in 5 months or a year or whatever. And now it's going to take even longer to unwind all that. So just making sure you're moving good is not like really hurting anything. And also, like, if my car breaks down, like, I'm going to have to go to a mechanic. If there's something wrong with my plumbing in my house, I'm always going to have to call a plumber. So like there is always going to be some dependence on other people to do the job that they studied their in school.
Life.
Yeah. It's like, so there is an argument against like seeing a chiropractor or whoever for a long, long time. And I totally see where that's coming from. But at the same time, we are the experts in musculoskeletal health, or one of them, I should say. So it's not like a bad thing to ask someone who knows more about a topic for their help on that thing. So, and of course, like the people who I see who have gotten adjusted for forever, whether it's like 50, 60, 70 years, they know a lot about their body, which is really cool. And they tend to lead a more overall healthy lifestyle, and they're kind of like, oh, I know it's C2 on the right or L5 on the left or whatever. That's because they've been adjusted, but they've learned about their body along the way. It wasn't 100% dependence thing.
Right.
So it's cool to see that side of the spectrum too. Like the people who have got adjusted for forever, like they always adjust super easily and they're overall pretty healthy. So,
and speaking on the people who are coming in to get adjusted, what would you say is the most common issue that you see people having or needing to come to you for? Or what do you think? This is kind of a side one. We'll start there. But the other one I would be interested to hear is, what do you think not enough people are coming in to get adjusted? Like, what is something that you feel everyone should be getting adjusted more regularly?
That's a great questions. Low back pain, either it radiates down a leg or not. I would say that's the most common reason people come in is low back pain. The low back isn't fragile. It's not more prone to injury because of it's a weak structure. It's actually a very strong structure. The vertebrae and everything are way thicker, all these kinds of things. But it's at a place in our body where if we're not moving through our hips and it's right by our center of gravity, we're going to start to use our low back a little bit more. So we tend to tend to use a low back more than it's ready to handle. So we've surpassed its capacity, whether it's muscles and ligaments and the joints and all this stuff, whether it's range of motion or strength or endurance. So I digress. Low back pain, whether it goes down a leg or not, is the most common issue. Neck, whether it goes down the arm or not, the second most common. And I would lump headaches in there as well. It's actually surprising how many more people are coming in with headaches, and they think it's normal to have headaches either daily or a couple of times a month, like on the month. Like, I'm just like, that's not a way to live.
You're like, that's actually not supposed to happen.
Yeah. Did you not know? And it's interesting too. Like after 2 or 3 adjustments, I can think of a gal off the top of my head. Her headaches went way down both in intensity and frequency. And it's like, we didn't need a magic solution or to go get pain meds or injections or whatever, or imaging. We just did a classic old school traditional adjustment and she got better and she's on her way. She's coming in still to like make sure it stays away. But the low back pain for sure is a top one, but neck is a very close second. And then the area, it's funny, the area that's super stiff that no one usually ever cares to get adjusted is right in between, which is the upper/middle back. And that area just gets super stiff on a lot of people from sedentary lifestyles, sitting too much, not ever like reaching overhead and extending our spines, full breathing, going on walks, whatever it might be. And a lot of times when that area is too stiff, then our neck and our low back feel it. And so that can drive for some people the other issues that they are coming in to see us
worse.
Yeah. So it's like the area you actually need to like really adjust, like and from a causative standpoint, is the upper back. And of course, if you adjust the low back or the neck, that'll help the symptoms and it might be good for forever.
But if you address the middle, you're actually going to help address the thing that is causing that much or adding to.
For sure. And that's where I like staying with the breathing stuff, is because the rib cage attaches to the upper back, which is often super stiff. If you work on the breathing, lengthen the spine like we were doing before the show. Elongating. I rolled you over to adjust your upper back, and like I literally I didn't even like roll you over all the way.
You just started.
Yeah, like literally from T1 to T12 all popped. And I was like, well, that was easy. So like you get a ton
and that
of
was
mobility.
Just from making me breathe and like elongating, like actively trying to stretch out my body, and not in an uncomfortable way either. Just slightly, just move a little bit. We haven't touched on this quite as much, but the posture, side of it, I can just imagine that's going to help with posture
100%.
overall too.
Yeah.
So because of that but both the alignment from the chiropractic side, but also just that lengthening and elongating of the spine and keeping it flexible and more mobile. And
Yeah, like the breathing. So I guess let me backtrack. Like the adjustment helps from an external standpoint. I'm an external force acting on your body, and then the joint pops and you feel better.
right.
The breathing is now we're affecting the internal environment. We're changing how your brain is firing your muscles. So then we can either, a lot of times people actually will pop and adjust as we're doing those kinds of movements, but then the adjustment lasts a lot longer. You don't need to come in as much. So it's a lot more effective again, as you felt like it just loosened up
Right.
from doing that. I always tell people posture is where your body falls without having to think about it. So if you're constantly having to remind yourself to sit up straight or pull your head back or your shoulders back or whatever, like stop doing that. For one, it's actually making things worse, which is super counterintuitive.
Oof.
Yeah. And again, like for me, a huge driver of posture is rib cage positioning. So if the ribs are coming up in the front, like we call it like a rib flare, basically the curve in the low back starts to get a little steeper. Think like Kim K sticking her butt out kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or for women out there, like if you're wearing heels and you feel like that tension in the low back, it's that like accentuation of the curve in the low back. And then the head comes forward to try to counterbalance it, and the shoulders actually will round forward more often than not to also compensate. So like you can literally fix all of that by getting the ribs down and lengthening the spine at the same time, like we were working on. And that'll help your posture. Like a lot of people that I've helped with this, they'll tell me I went to remind myself to relax my shoulders out of my ears and they were already down. I was like, yeah, we're improving your posture without you having to remind yourself. And that's where the breathing is like your quote unquote like maintenance care as far as posture is concerned. So yeah, and you shouldn't, like, that's annoying to have to keep having to remind yourself, like go through some exercise and like long term address these subconscious, I guess, like areas of the brain that control posture. And that way you don't have to like keep reminding yourself to sit up straight. Like I slouch a little bit too. Like I'm still working on my posture. It's been a journey, but I've learned the most by working on my own. And it's just so great. It's so cool to see people come in 1 week to the next and their shoulder, like even if they're like 60 or 70 years old with like rigid head forward posture and their upper back super rounded, and they come in like 1, 2, 3 weeks later. Yeah. It's like, I can tell a huge difference
just by the way you're standing.
Yeah. And sometimes those people haven't even done their homework. Like it was just like the 30 to 45 minutes we do in the clinic, and then their body starts to kind of figure it out. And that's the really cool thing too. I know I'm rambling, but
no, you're good.
With the DNS technique that I mentioned that originates out of Prague is the breathing and some of the cueing. Basically, the whole model came from the first watching babies develop from the day they were born till about the first year and a half of life to where you can walk around on your own. And these exercises and cues take an adult body back to not a baby body, but that state of minimal muscle tension, full joint range of motion, good posture without having to think about it. You're just moving and you're not over tensing way more than you need to. All of that stuff comes later when we sit in classrooms, we're wearing shoes, we're starting to get sedentary,
getting beat down by the day and
looking at screens, not moving around as much as we should, like all psychological stressors, like psychological stress literally shrinks our body, like
it manifests itself in a physical way.
Whether we're talking about the like up and down plane, like from head to toe, it literally will shrink you, like inside out or outside in, rounded shoulders. It's all these like muscle tension, muscle guarding patterns that can really have not always, like a pretty big, strong psychological component to them. But yeah, posture is a big topic. It doesn't always cause pain.
But it's something that by doing these exercises and the adjustments and everything, you will slowly just get
without having to think about it. Yeah. And so I guess I'll clear up the whole like pinching the shoulder blades back and like holding your shoulders down and back is like probably the biggest. Yeah. That will basically throw your rib cage forward even more, which again is already the postural distortion that's kind of hiding underneath what you think is like the rounded shoulders. And well, your shoulders are rounding and all that kind of stuff, but it's because your ribs are already flared. So if you pinch your shoulder blades together, it just accentuates that. And then 3 minutes later, you find yourself slouching because that wasn't the right move. Your body's like, yeah, screw this. I'm tired. Like you shouldn't have to fight. You're basically trying to fight tension with more tension. What I try to do with the DNS exercises is let's just get rid of the original tension so your body can rest where it's supposed to without having to add more tension.
Adding more tension.
Yeah. And the body it'll rest there. Like it'll stay there. You'll sit up straighter. All these kinds of things. So yeah, it's been really, really cool to see that change in people.
Yeah. And that's something I was going to ask. So of the people doing these processes, how are you... I mean, I would say, how are you getting them to stick with it? But I imagine that if they're seeing positive results, they would probably want to stick with it. But is there any other incentivizers that you're placing there to kind of just like remind people, this is why you do this? But kind of in that same vein, you said you've seen this in transformation people. Is there one clear one that sticks out to you? And then I guess what got you to have them or help them stick with it rather than just being like, oh yeah, this sounds pretty nice.
Yeah. I think the biggest driver is them feeling the difference in their body.
I figured it would be. I was I
sure.
put this down as a question, but the more I think about it, the more it's like, well, if it helps you feel better, you're good.
Yeah, I wouldn't say a lot. I wouldn't say it's enough to motivate people to do it on their own all the time. But it does motivate. They'll do it every other day or whatever. And that's usually still even enough. Like I said, some people don't do it at all and it's enough for them. But the other thing too, like with people feeling in their body, like I've gotten sensitive enough with my hands and my eyes and just a general like sensing people on the table because of doing it so much on myself that I know when their bodies start.
Something was wrong with my foot. I didn't even tell you there was something wrong with it. You knew.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. I was like, yeah, it's been hurting literally.
It's actually
specifically the past couple of weeks because I've been getting back into the gym. I notice pretty much every time I do, and it may be something with my posture, I don't know, but if I'm throwing heavy weights on the incline leg press, for some reason, my foot has been hurting like the day after or the 2 days after that. But the point is, I didn't mention none of it. And you're just like, something's up with your foot. Hold on. And I was like, whoa, how did he know?
Yeah, actually, so that's like, there's a lot of intuition too. Like I've had that with people. They're like, how'd you know like that this was hurt? He's like, I didn't know that your foot until I started to touch it. You
didn't know until
the fact that my body went down there and started messing with your foot. That I just chalked it up to like some level of intuition I'm not totally conscious of, basically. But that's happened a ton with people that are like, yeah, how'd you know it was my shoulder or this or that? I'm like, I didn't like consciously know or try to make that decision or assessment. I just like went to it, and it's happened enough where I can trust it more, which is really cool. But once I did start to feel your foot, I was like, yeah, this thing is pretty stiff. Yeah, so that was when I verbalized to you, like, yeah, something's up with your foot. And then you told me that it was. Yeah. But I think before then you asked.
Also, like, is there any
the way to motivate them? Yeah.
Well, no, you were kind of getting into that, but the other one was also, is there a specific person, like a specific case that sticks with you, like the transformation that they've seen, or is it one of the ones we've already kind of went over?
There's been enough of them. No one's like
Not to derail, one that I liked a lot, which wasn't specifically this, it was more yoga focused. DDP. I don't know if you know who that is. Diamond Dallas Page, old wrestler.
No. Okay. I thought you were talking about DD Palmer, who was actually the first guy.
DDP yoga. He has this video of this. He was a paratrooper, and he used to jump out of planes, and he would. And it was terrible for him, and he gained a lot of weight over the years and everything. He got to a point where he couldn't really walk or anything, but his yoga really improved his quality of life to the point where he went from not being really able to walk anymore, so much spinal issues, and then to a point of being able to run. Like, wow. It's a really emotional video, and but like, it's not the same work, but the stretching and the being able to strengthen your muscles in different ways, not just power, but also flexibility and stuff, helping. Highly recommend watching that video.
Yeah, get
a tissue box over on the side, because it is very emotional. But and that's obviously like a really up there one. Not saying it has to be that extreme. That you knew.
There's a gal. She came into the joint basically like kind of. She had low back pain. That's when it started, and started getting her adjusted. Low back pain started getting better, so she started taking up an exercise class where she basically was repetitively flexing her spine or bending forward like hundreds or thousands of times. And then eventually like came hobbling in on a cane, like literally started losing function of one of her leg. I think it was her left leg. And we tried just adjustments, wasn't doing it. I was like, hey, I'm working on this other clinic down in Springdale. We did like 3 treatments of decompression, totally regained function of her leg, just taking pressure off the nerve and the disc from all that repetitive bending. It's not that bending is bad, but when you're not offsetting it, or there's other things that should be present to help mitigate the damage there, it can result in something like that. So she had that issue, but also a lot of rounding in her upper back. So there's a lot of pressure on her neck and lower back as a result. And we got her upper back posture changed quite a bit. Neck tension decreased a ton. Low back tension decreased a ton by working the breathing and some of the other DNS positions and movements, by basically just like elongating and uprighting her upper back. So that was a really, really cool case. She's an awesome person. But the longer I do this, there's more people that
there's going to be multiple.
Yeah. With the upper back rounding is probably the biggest change in general for people.
And for you bros out there, that's going to help whenever you're in the meetings. You need to
for sure
have that nice manly posture. So there's something in this for you guys too.
Absolutely. And I guess too, on the point, like, you were mentioning earlier, like the difference that DDP and like how it's just a different kind of like strengthening and that kind of thing. Like,
yeah, yoga.
I've had people who can bench like 300, 400, 500 pounds on the table and like put them in the position that I had you in on your elbows and knees, and like we're working the breathing and stuff. Like, they are sweating, they are shaking, they can't breathe, they're turning red, they can't even get in the position because they're so used to these big muscles like pecs and upper traps,
very specific.
Yeah. So when you ask them their brain to relax those muscles that they're so used to using, that they're not shaking because their muscles are weak. They're shaking because their brain hasn't connected to the deeper muscles to relax the bigger ones over top. And that's a much different kind of strength to what you were kind of alluding to with DDP. Is like, you can go ahead and bench press 315 and squat and deadlift and all these things, but when we ask you to move with a certain quality and like joint alignment and stuff, like, are you going to crack under pressure there? Like, your muscles, you're going to be working way harder to hold those positions than someone like me, who I don't exercise like that on purpose. Right. Because I want to strengthen more of a movement pattern that will keep my joints aligned through a full range of motion. and have
which is
more...
crazy because he's in insanely good shape.
Yeah, I need to stop eating so many carbs.
You're doing great, dude.
It's the walking. But no, I was lifting for a while, and I've just kind of stopped recently. But at any rate, yeah, the DNS stuff and the breathing, like much different kind of strength, and then you add the adjustment on top of that, and it's just like you'll change people's lives, like no question. It's so cool to see. Even when they walk in, I can tell how usually I can tell if they've done their exercise and about how much they've done it when they walk in before they even say a word, because of their moving, their gait is different. Yeah, it's smoother, it's more relaxed. Their shoulders aren't up in their ears, like their arms are starting to swing by their sides.
You've been doing your stuff.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah, so I'll usually just ask in general, I'm like, oh, have you been doing your stuff? In my head, I'm like, I think they have been. And I'll kind of like course correct on that, but I've been wrong a couple times. But for the most part, I can tell, and it's really cool to see. Like, you're having a completely different experience in your body now that we're changing these postural patterns and stuff.
So you mentioned the fact that you're not, specifically going to the gym and just hitting heavy weights. What is your fitness routine looking like? Geez. Is it mostly
Black Ops 6? Unfortunately.
My thumbs are getting the workout of life.
Got a 6-pack right here. Yeah, I mean, as of late, it's honestly just been a lot of walking because I was getting pretty sedentary for a while, which is why I have a lot more empathy for people. Like, right. I just don't want to do it. Mentally for me, I'm like, even though I know it's beneficial, there was still a hurdle to get over of like, just get going. And once you get going, it's
a little bit easier. Yeah. But like I said, I recently started going back to the gym, and getting myself back into the gym was the hardest part. Yeah. Now that I'm there, I'm like, yes, I want to go to the gym. Your body kind of
craves it a little bit. Yeah.
And I don't know. I also think some of that's linked to the ADHD, the endorphins, that because like I get a rush off of it, and so my brain craves that rush. ADHD, you just crave any rush that your brain can get.
There's dopamine, there's adrenaline. Fun fact, there's also, a lot of people say it's endorphins that make you like feel good from the workout. Well, there's the dopamine and the adrenaline, but also there's endocannabinoids. So we produce our own, basically like what you get from smoking marijuana. We produce that. Yeah, and that's what makes a runner's high. You're high.
Feel like that.
Yeah, you're euphoric, you get creative. And you lose track of time. That's the same thing what happens when you ingest THC. So this
is why we're listening to guys like him.
There's more. It's crazy. Yeah, it's cool, and it's also like why we would respond to marijuana is like we would need some sort of receptor for it
to be.
But yeah, if you've ever run long enough, I think I did this once in my life, and basically it has to be like a flow state. It can't be too difficult, and it can't be not enough.
Yeah.
Where I had a runner's high, and I like vividly remember that moment. And but some people can get into it easier. But sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, it's good. Long-term runners and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I know they hit it a lot. But so okay, you've eased back on your own, but you still, like we said at the top, we both believe that fitness is going to be intrinsically linked to all of this, because it creates those different problems of their own. Just being overweight is going to create tensions 100%. In different places. Being able to, because I've been the obese guy, and I'm still not quite where I want to be yet. And so I know, like, just from weight loss, just how much that reduces the tensions in my body as well.
For me, I guess, like, where my fitness is at is, like, yes, walking. I was getting on the weights, but I just started, and like, I'm someone who I want to feel like I have full range of motion. And if I start to lift weights, I start to feel like a gorilla that can't itch his own ears. Yeah. So it's like, the tension, but also like I start to gain so much muscle, I'm like, I don't feel like I can move much.
That reminds me, there's this guy, and you may have seen him, Stay Flexi. Have you ever seen him on? So he's someone who comes across my feeds a lot. He does like just a lot of like mobility exercises.
Oh, nice.
And it's really cool. And like sometimes he'll do a collaboration with like bigger, like stronger guys, and he'll be like, "Can you do this?" And they just can't even begin to. He was doing jumps behind his back to grab a bar and hang from on just his shoulders. And the guy was like, "Yeah, but you're really light, so let's put more weight." And he still got himself up to like 250 and was still able to do it. It was just like, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like the body is such a cool thing if you manipulate it correctly, and you can get it so strong in different ways.
It's so crazy. And yeah, my mentor kind of points out like your body will kind of form and shape itself to the activity that you're doing. So like CrossFit people tend to be a little bit more dense and like boxy looking people in general, not always. Runners have a pretty typical body type. Sprinters, weightlifters, soccer players have always like tree trunks of legs, like NFL running back, same thing. So for me, like I'm shifting more into like calisthenics or body weight stuff because I want to feel both mobile and strong, but also a little bit lighter because I don't like that side effect of lifting weights is just like
you get so
feeling like a feeling like I need to be rolled around half the time. It's like I want to still feel light on my feet, but I want to still be strong, and having muscle mass is, especially even young, if you make deposits into that bank earlier on in life, your health span later on, it's easier to if you like fall off the train and start working out again, it's easier to regain muscle mass, and it's just better for what we call your health span. So yeah, you might live to 100 years old, which is your lifespan, how long you're alive, but how many of those 100 years are actually quality where you can move and walk around and do stuff on your own? That's your health span. And so having muscle increases your health span. It helps regulate blood sugar, does all kinds of things, hormone secretions, and they're finding out, I feel like more is coming out on how much muscle tissue is like almost its own organ. I think I read a paper years ago on like how it has its own circadian, I think all organs have its own circadian rhythms, which is interesting to me because that ties together with like traditional Chinese medicine, where there's like they have an organ clock that like certain organs are more active or less active during certain times of the day and all kinds of stuff. But I'm like, oh, they've been saying that for thousands of years, and here we are in 2020 saying
we definitely know better.
Exactly.
And so I think in some cases it is true, but in some cases I feel
100%
possibly things get left because I think there's nuance to a lot of things, and a lot of people are like, no, it is black or white, when it may be mostly black, but there's this little bit, and we ignore that little bit because it doesn't fit the new narrative that's being talked about, the new health trend, the new, because eggs were terrible for us, then they were great for us, then they were terrible for us again, but only if you're eating the yellow part.
Now they're just expensive.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Kind of surprised myself with that joke.
That was good. That was a good placement, man. Let's talk a little bit more about you coming into this job and doing the things that you're doing. What's something that you don't think other people realize, and you maybe didn't really realize when you started down this path? Not just like health wise, but the business itself, like working within it.
There's a lot more paperwork that you don't want to do from a business
Get ready
standpoint.
to be writing a lot.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, actually on that note, like I've seen some docs set up their systems where it's like they're basically checking a couple of checkboxes on a piece of paper, handing it to their front desk lady. She's billing, coding, all these things, and then stashes it away. Super efficient, and it works. But then I've seen other offices where they stay late for 2 hours after a 9-hour shift to get their notes done for the day. And so, but like at the joint, for the most part, we can get our notes done as we're seeing people. So it's like you can do it as you're going throughout the day. So there's variation on the note taking in that regard. But I didn't realize how much work that would be. Also, like how much a lot of people will look to their chiropractor for general health advice, which I'm all for. Again, because chiropractic is an overall health and wellness idea and lifestyle. It makes sense for most of us to be educated. I mean, we get a lot of nutrition education in school. A lot of us research supplements and other diets and other, like literally anything we can get our hands on, whether it's like how blue light affects us or whatever, EMFs and these kinds of things. Like we're usually reading some sort of like alternative health thing. So it's been cool for people to come in and like ask questions on that kind of stuff. I should have, but I didn't realize like how often I'd probably need to be communicating with other medical providers. It's not like my word against theirs. It's like, let's work together for this patient. Yeah. Like, do they need an injection or surgery, or like, can we maybe try to hold off the surgery, or maybe they for sure need it, but we'll do some like prehab before to optimize the recovery after. Like there's a lot more coordination with other medical providers. But yeah, those are kind of some of the things that come to mind that outside of the fun stuff I like to do on the treatment table that come with the job, but it's all super rewarding. It's awesome to see. I mean, from the spectrum, like as far as like the joint goes, like to only adjusting and like pretty minimal involvement in people's lives, like how much that changes their lives. It's all the way to like a full integrative healthcare setting where a chiropractor can also be and be super involved and in depth on people's medical histories and stuff. And again, you're still changing people's lives either way.
And that's the goal.
Yeah. So like, super rewarding. Yeah.
So, and we already mostly touched on this, so we'll just kind of be quick. Like you said, there are the skeptics that just assume chiropractic's just popping, joints or popping bones. Your most direct and succinct response to that? Go.
No. I definitely see where that comes from. So you're asking about the people who think it's only about popping joints, basically?
Or that, or just it's not worthwhile. That's gotcha. People, I don't think it's as around anymore. I know there are still some that are like, sure. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Well, the problem is we, for better or for worse, half of our profession thinks that.
Right.
Like I've worked with people who literally don't believe in chiropractic and they're a chiropractor.
They're doing it. Yeah.
And that's unfortunately, this I don't think was the intent at all with this like evidence-based biopsychosocial group that like has basically kind of, I don't know, infiltrated or whatever you want to call it, our profession, but it's kind of turned chiropractors and PTs against ourselves very literally. Not only like each other, but it's like
two different
two different you might have that, but also like literally as a chiropractor myself, I might be ashamed to be a chiropractor because now I don't believe that it does anything. But I'm thankful I've been at the joint because I stripped away all the rehab and everything, and I could see still see the effects. I saw 10,000 people my first year, and like how many lives it changes just getting adjusted is incredible. So I think I would circle back to what we said earlier is like, I think you would have to experience it. Honestly, there's only so much convincing
that can do from this side of the.
Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, what a joint pop is, I don't know if we've definitively figured out
specifically
well, even just like in general, like in science, there's a gas bubble either entering or leaving the space between your bones, which is a joint. So that's what the noise is. It's not something tearing or breaking or anything like that, ligaments or nothing like that.
Just some air.
Yeah, it's literally like a nitrogen gas bubble moving in or out of your joint. And what that does, though, is it creates a little bit more space inside the joint. So now when you move your joint, the muscles around it are a little bit looser. You can stimulate more receptors inside the joint surface itself. That will decrease pain, and that will ultimately increase the health of a joint, because the only way to keep a joint healthy is to actually move it. And they've done studies where they compared sedentary people to active people, and actually the active people had less osteoarthritis than the sedentary people. And so that's like a huge deal. And so what we're doing as chiropractors is restoring full range of motion,
different joints that don't get the movement they need.
100%. Yeah, especially just with our lifestyle, right? Like being sedentary. But whether you're in pain or not, having full range of motion in your joints is not going to be a bad thing. We're not it's not trying to go to extreme. Yeah. It's just full range where you're supposed to have. And that is different from person to person. Some people can hyperextend their elbows way past a straight line.
Right.
And mine, like, I don't even know if it gets to a straight line, actually. Like it goes a little bit beyond that. But so it's my job as a chiropractor to be able to know that and feel like what's normal for you and restore that function, basically. So, and you don't have to get adjusted.
The
either.
idea to me of like how it works with the air bubble and everything, to me, just sounds intrinsically like it would work. Simply because, like, if I think of just like, I don't know, I don't know how to describe us our flesh jacket humanoids.
Meat suit.
But if you had like air in a hot dog and you escape,
I like where this is going.
Yeah, hold on, we'll get there. No. I don't know. I guess I'm looking for the right one. It's out there somewhere. But basically, I would just think, like, okay, this is not the best way to do this analogy. If you remove the bone from my arm, the flesh in my arm is going to have more area to move around. Yeah. That's not exactly, but it's close. It's like there is more room.
What you're kind of getting to is like how we move in general, and that's like by occupying space around us, our peripersonal space. But if you
remove some of the air inside of us, then it feels like it would be create less tension on the joint for it to move around. Yeah. Just that's at least what it sounds like to me whenever I hear there was air in the joint and now there's not.
And actually this is a perfect dovetail with, like, we're not, as chiropractors, putting bones back into place either. I think what happened was someone needed an adjustment, like their joints were stiff, their muscles were also guarding in that same posture. Someone adjusted, and then afterwards they look visually different. It's like, oh, I just shoved that bone way over there. But what happened was the muscles around the joint loosened up, and the joint itself,
so that the joint could move.
Yeah, so it's now like you're feeling them, and you're seeing the fact that it moved, or has the ability to move. Yeah, it's not like it's in a completely different place. Right. So things don't like go out of place. What people mean when they say that is the joint is not moving how it's supposed to. And again, that's what we do. And as chiropractors, and sometimes we're not adjusting that specific area. A good way to illustrate would be like the upper back and like neck pain example we were talking about earlier, is like maybe they have neck pain, but to take pressure off of their neck, I might adjust the upper back because that's super stiff. And now their neck feels better because now the upper back can move and share some of the load and tension. And so, yeah, I mean, we're not always adjusting where it hurts.
You're adjusting so that the thing that hurts isn't taking the full load of the pressure that was being put on that specific joint or that specific area. That makes a lot of sense to me. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. People can say it's not real, but to me, it seems...
Can always go to the joint. They got $29. I think everyone's required $29 first visit.
Yeah, the joint. So
get adjusted, get assessed.
I'm someone who never really wanted to go because of how expensive some of them are. And I didn't. Now, for some people, they have like coverage, insurance that'll cover some of it. I didn't. And so I ended up going to the joint because I was like, man, this is way cheaper than any other option. And while it is a generalized one rather than a specialized one. Isn't that how it works? It was really nice and pretty effective. I am someone that probably needs it more and probably could utilize it more. But my wife definitely goes, and she feels better for going. So, like, who am I to say that that's not her experience? That it's her body. She's going to be the one who knows whether she feels better after, getting an adjustment or not me. So, and I've felt better, at least in the short term, a lot of times after getting an adjustment. But, so
in the short term thing too, like that's where for me, like the rehab really shines.
Really is important.
It makes that relief last longer and longer as you do more of the rehab. And, like today, we got some pretty decent movement out of your spine. Let's say we did this again next week, and we did some rehab and it got you adjusted. Other joints that didn't move today probably would move. Will. Yeah, so like we would slowly start to open up more and more of your body, and then the rehab would just hold more, and you start to sit up straight. All that kind of stuff.
Just
so
be naturally, not have to be thinking about posture. This whole time I look over, you're just and I'm like, So, just some last few things I want to touch on before we wrap up. If someone wants to get into this kind of field, into chiropractics, rehabilitation, posture correction, any kinds of those areas, those fields, what would you suggest them do? How young should they start? I imagine optimally as soon as possible, while you're still in school and can learn more about the body and stuff. But
yeah, for sure. Most people's entry is their personal experience. Like they had back pain or whatever, got adjusted by a chiropractor, they got better. Same thing that happened with me in massage. But if that doesn't happen and you're just interested in the profession, which is arguably, to me, probably a better reason to get into it, is genuine interest. Go shadow someone. Go see what their office is like. See the kinds of changes that they can make for people, what they actually do. You'll see the office work or business work behind the scenes, aside from treating people. Like,
see if that's going to be the thing that
are you willing to do all of that? Yeah. So I would say go shadow someone, whether it's a chiro or a PT. And you'll start to figure out like either what you do or don't like, which are both valuable. Maybe you go to a PT and you really like the exercise piece, but you also like the idea of adjusting and using your hands a little bit more. Then you go shadow a chiropractor. And essentially, actually, too, on that note, like a lot of people say now, like if you have a good chiro and a good PT treating two patients at the same time, you shouldn't really be able to tell who's who for the most part, because they're both going to do exercise, both be really good with their hands and stuff. You get a lot more hands-on education in chiro school than PT, from what I've heard. A couple of my buddies went through PT school. So shadow, intern, just go check it out, see what it's actually like first. And then as far as like education stuff, they would point you, whoever you go shadow would point you in the right direction. Right. But I'm biased. Logan was a great place to go for my education. There's I don't know how many chiropractic schools in the country, but there's some a little bit more traditional chiropractic, like Life University in Georgia, Palmer Chiropractic in Davenport, Iowa, which is where I believe that's where the first adjustment took place. I forget if it was I think it was D.D. Palmer, but the school was founded by him, actually. Wow. They've stayed like very tried and true to like very fundamental chiropractic principles. And like for Logan, for me, like they kind of strayed away from that.
Touched on different,
it was a lot of internal disorders and learning about what we couldn't treat and to refer out for everything. And so when I was lucky to work with a joint and see like, oh, not everyone has cancer and all this stuff. And actually it was funny, it's not funny, but it's interesting. It's like the one person that, maybe not the one, but that did show up with cancer as a new patient, like stuck out like a sore thumb because I adjusted so many other people And I was like, oh, this is what normal baselines look like. Oh, when they do have something overtly wrong, it's super obvious. And there's plenty of people with different cancers and stuff that we still can work on and adjust for pain management and whatnot. But yeah, I definitely go shadow and intern and just get your foot in the door.
That's a good answer. I like it.
Yeah, so I was long-winded.
No, it's good. It's good. It gives us the reason why behind it and what they should do. I like it. Outside of work, what do you? We've already talked about it a little bit, but Black Ops is one way you unwind.
Yeah,
great way to unwind. Get tense and yell at the TV. But yeah, is there any other things you do for relaxation, like? Any specific things, like do you go to saunas, is there anything like medically you do, or is there anything just that you just make sure to do in order to get you in a more relaxed state?
Yeah, nothing like official medical. It's funny, my friends and my mentor have kind of like tried to help me shake a little bit of my career identity, so like go do something for fun not related to that. And it was so difficult to start to try to do. So like Black Ops was a great thing for me in that regard. But as far as other things, I like to indoor boulder. Climb gym here in Bentonville is really awesome. Now that it's getting warmer out and stuff, I'll go on hikes with my girlfriend and her dog. Pickleball is a ton of fun. I'm a big pickleballer. And shoot, those are the couple of things. I love to cook, actually.
Oh, really?
I started to learn that in chiropractic school.
I wish I liked to cook. I'd like to eat a lot.
I don't know what it is.
So
yeah,
much
I do
cook.
like to eat too. It is nice when my girlfriend cooks. The food's always better, but like making ice cream in particular is like really fun because who doesn't love ice cream?
I've been making high protein ice cream.
Yeah, there you go.
And the creamy.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's pretty fire.
You know, it doesn't have all the crap in it or whatever, and
yeah,
it tastes really good. But yeah, and then watching a lot of movies lately. We binged Rush Hour, all three of them, twice through in like back-to-back weeks because Chris Tucker was so funny. We're like, yeah, that was awesome. Let's just rewatch it.
Oh, that's
and now we're watching Ocean's 11 and 12 and 13. So, but yeah, lots of movies.
Cool. That's cool. Rush Hour, not one that I was expecting.
Dude,
but
so funny. I love it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Are there any other like personal goals you have in this field? Jumping back into it just a little bit more, that you haven't achieved yet, that you hope to achieve before you're done? What is your end goal? Just help as many people as you can, or is there a specific level of, knowledge that you want to obtain? Like what is your personal goals in this field?
The one that sticks out the most is there's a course. So DNS has a clinical track of like A course, B course, C course, and then D. D is a week long in Prague. And so you have to take A, B, and C first to go over there. So that'll be like a benchmark for me for sure, as far as like level of education. And they they see the craziest cases, and they're just, the guy who created DNS is absolutely insane. Like, he's diagnosed tumors before at seminars by muscle testing people. Like, he can watch you walk and tell you like different injuries you've had or might have. Whatever. So anyway, super cool system to learn from. I did at one point like really want to teach for them because they have US instructors that they'll fly around the world to teach the material, which I'm a little bit more willing to like, if that doesn't happen, like no big deal. I'm less attached to it. But it would still be fun. I love the material, and getting paid to travel the world would be so bad either.
Would be pretty nice as well.
But as far, I want to eventually grow out of this space and have like my own clinical space where I can have a decompression table and some of the more traditional things you might find in an office. Honestly, like other than that, I don't know. Like I'm part of a chiropractic business group that like basically like the end goal is to like get you out of clinic so that you can be the business owner.
Right.
But I'm like, like if I had a $10 million, I would still be treating patients. Like,
right.
It's fun. Like, this is fun for me. So I don't really have like a goal
ambition to just
like
be the business owner. You want to be the person doing the hands-on.
Yeah. So, no like reason to like try to get out of it yet. At least I'm not tired of it. But it seems around the 10-year mark, there's a switch that flips and people are like, all right, I'm ready to. So maybe I'll get there. I'm just like young and naive, but owning a business with a couple of docs would be really cool. So that's definitely a goal of mine, is to grow out of this space and have a little bit bigger space with more docs and stuff like that. So I'm always big on integrating too. Like if I could have like a pediatric chiropractor in there and someone who deals, usually they deal with baby and mom as well. But things like that, or functional medicine, like have a
what about pets?
Different. There is animal chiropractor. Yeah, there is.
I've seen that uptrend. Just my favorite one is the dog.
Yeah, there's the guy. I don't know if it is as the guy that you've seen.
Yeah.
It's like he sounds like he's speaking German or something like that.
I don't. Oh yeah.
Can't tell for sure. Yeah. Apparently, I don't know for sure. He's not even a chiropractor. He's not supposed to be doing that, but I don't know if that's true or not. But there's people will pay to have their pets adjusted. It's funny how much people will pay to take care of their animals and not themselves.
Yeah. Because I saw one, like I've seen a bunch of them. Like one was working on like a Chihuahua or some smaller dog, Yorkie or something, and the back hips just
I'll rub like Jupiter, or my girlfriend's dog, like I'll rub his back hips, or most dogs that I meet, if you just rub their back hips, they love it. I don't know if it's just tight muscles or what, but they'll like literally push their butt up. Yeah. It's so funny to see.
Oh man. Well, that's pretty much all I got. I'm implementing a new thing now where I am asking everyone. So you first people that were on, you dodged it. What's your favorite fast food?
Oh, my favorite fast food. It's between Wendy's and Chick-fil-A. I think Chick-fil-A wins because it doesn't make me feel as crappy. But man, Chick-fil-A sauce is just so damn good. You could put that on a shoe and I would eat it. So Chick-fil-A is a winner on that one.
Awesome. All right. Well, we got our first one down. But yeah, so this is part of the episode where if there's anything you want to plug, any different websites you want to share or Instagrams or anything like that, go ahead and let them know. And
nice. Yeah, my Instagram, at least the clinic Instagram, is ARCR_clinic. I post some exercises and different information on chiropractic and what I do on there. My website, I changed the domain. I think the new one is now Chiro, CHIROARCR.com, I believe. I'll have to verify that with you. You can leave it.
You can send it to me and I'll put it on.
But yeah, you can go on there, book a consultation. So, I mean, actually, maybe I could talk about that real quick. What that looks like is a $40 visit, come in, get assessed. And then I have a couple of different treatment options. So you're not like in here for forever or something, or for 2 years.
Yeah, you're not doing a big old spiel. You're just like, hey, here's some options to look at.
Here's what I think. I can recommend what I think will be best for you, and you can take it or leave it. Go through a full body assessment, see what's going on, and then offer a treatment plan and things like that. So it's about like 45 minutes or so when it's all said and done. And that's what that looks like. So yeah, hopefully I'll see some of the listeners in here.
Awesome. And if that's all you've got, that's all I've got. We've been talking with Victor Elmer and whatever it is, Chiro, rehab Chiro. We're workshopping the name. We'll get it. You guys take care.